Now, one more interesting panel is coming our way, the one on the generative AI and the transformation of educational paradigms. Žarko Čizmar, founder, project manager, and executive director of Croatian NGO Telecenter, will be moderating this panel, and he will talk to Sandra Troja, a project consultant at All Digital, Arina Vurikari, education consultant, Nicola Bruno, director of the Open the Box set Data Ninja, Marko Horvat, assistant professor at the University of Zagreb, Zunke Cile, science and once more please, head of the training and employment area at Fundación Esplai. Žarko, please take it from here.
Isabella, we have to be super efficient. Half an hour. It's like a coffee break for the panel, right?
We'll let you slip with 5 minutes more.
Okay. The title of the panel is Generative AI in the Transformation of Educational Paradigms. We will be talking about the changes ahead of us. And we are sufficient that we allow panelists only one sentence to present themselves. So we will start with this presentation of one sentence, including the first question for each of them. We will start with Rina. Rina, please.
So one sentence, if I don't breathe in between, that counts as one sentence.
You used it already, you know. You wasted your sentence.
Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Rina Vuorikari, I'm from Finland. I'm currently working as an independent expert, also known for my work for Digital Competence Framework. Many of you know DigComp. I'm the first author of DigComp Framework. Thank you.
So the first question, of course, is what is DigComp?
Thank you for that question. So this is really, it provides a common vision for Europeans what digital competence entails today. We often talk about digital skills. Sometimes people do you now mean digital literacy, or is it digital content creation? Cybersecurity defines all that. We have 5 areas, 5 components of digital competence. It also defines the levels. We have 8 levels, proficiency levels we call. Importantly, we also have examples of knowledge, skills, and attitude. Those actually is composed of 3 things. So what does it mean to be digitally competent in Europe is a vision, but also at the same time a common vocabulary for us.
So last year in March, if I'm not wrong, you have published the version 2.2. So why did we need the new version of Competence Framework?
Thank you. Yes, the new version, we had updated 2016 last time, and if you can imagine what happened between 2016 and 2022, that is a long time in digital development. But actually, when we're looking at the themes, you know, there were misinformation, disinformation. We had pandemic, you know, the new context for working remotely. Of course, the data, kind of a datafication of life had already started way before. Like Microsoft was telling us they've been tracking our data already for using it for AI purposes and other purposes, profiling users, and so on. So that datafication was not really in DigComp that much. So that's why we looked at these new themes, looked at our 21 DigComp competencies and said, where do we need to give new ideas for those who are developing new training content, who are developing curriculums, who are setting policy targets. Like, these new things need to be there. So that was what we actually did. An important part of it is how citizens can interact AI-driven tools, applications, software in a confident, critical, but also safe way. So that's We have a big annex on AI examples, and there's about 80 of them, and it's really good for updating your training content, updating your, let's say, just be in today's time. We're not talking even about tomorrow. What do you need to know tomorrow? Skills, it's like today and yesterday.
Well, it was published in March. In November, the big bang happened with ChatGPT, you know. So you published the version 2.2. Do we need the version 3 or 3.0 soon? And if yes, what would you recommend to add to this new version?
Actually, this is a really good question, because we have been running yesterday and today also a workshop of generative AI tools and DigComp competencies and levels. And we are, of course, using these examples of AI tools and AI examples of knowledge, skills, and attitude about that. So going through and creating the course content, actually with people here, both sides, Data Ninja being one of our let's say, pedagogical support here, we actually realized that they are not outdated. Our examples are really there, and this is because DigComp Competence Framework actually was kind of, we were future-proofing it by using this vocabulary, like talking about digital technologies and not talk about software. So then we can talk about this, like looking for information today, you might go to ChatGPT, and it's still looking for information competence, also, although ChatGPT is not a search engine as such. So we can still use the same competencies. Examples are now there, so we don't need to update it yet. But you need to create new examples, new learning outcomes, and that's what is now should be done by educators, training providers, and so on. Whether DigComp framework itself needs to be updated, of course, that's not my decision to take. This is a framework which is owned by the European Union, so they are guardians of it in a way. Of course, it's open license. Anybody can use it. Anybody can update it if they wish, but the kind of authoritative source comes from there. I am sure that the Commission will reflect on that. When we did the update 2.2, it was also kind of stress test the model. Do we have enough, like the existing 21 competencies, can we put these new themes within? And we were kind of able to do it, but sometimes we had to really force it. So I think there needs to be maybe even new competencies, but some of the existing competencies need to be updated. I'll give you one example before I finish. Interacting through digital technologies. We were always thinking of that, like people use these technologies to interact with people. But nowadays, you actually interact with technology. You interact with ChatGPT. So that kind of thing was not explicitly written in the descriptor, but we can use that same descriptor still because it's the same concept. We might actually one day, write and update those descriptors. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Rina. My second guest is Marko Horvat. In 2020, we started jointly one project which was about thematic networks for digital literacy development, and we were working together for the last 3 years. And I asked Marko first to introduce himself, and then tell us what is generative AI? We are pretending that we all know what it is and what are the large language models. We are using this so often. So I wanted somebody who knows what it is. So please, Marko, tell us.
Yeah, a bit more a technical aspect on these things. Well, hello everybody. My name is Marko Horvat. I'm assistant professor at Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing. My specialty is AI. I work with it daily with my students, and in reference to your question, Žarko, generative AI is actually a novel class of algorithms in AI designed to create content. And as we all know, as it has already been said here, they do that by using snippets or parts of existing data sets that we humans have already created. Therefore, the deep learning models, the neural networks behind the ChatGPT and similar chatbots are in fact black boxes. So we do not know, and we cannot actually know, what will be generated based on each and every input that we can give them. That being said, it's obvious that chatbots are prone to different mistakes or errors, and we have to be aware of those when we use them. This class of algorithms was actually not known to be realistic, as you have said, and they have taken the world by the storm. Now, when the honeymoon is over, we can see that there are some drawbacks and there are some good sides to this technology, and we have to learn how to use them. I think that the application, the education, in the world of educations are many and important. And in fact, I have prepared here a report from the Harvard University that was published yesterday, which they drawn up a summary of 7 approaches how ChatGPT and similar algorithms, chatbots, could be used in education. They mentioned AI use: mentor, tutor, coach, teammate, student, simulator, and a tool. As I said, there are prompts and risks with using that, so I think that that will have to be further explored in the near future.
We heard on the presentation from Microsoft the list of skills required to use these technologies, and on the end they mentioned that this is I don't even think that is a digital skill. What skills would you recommend as an engineer for the use and users and learners and teachers of generative AI?
First and foremost, I think that understanding of these technologies, so machine learning and deep learning, is of primary importance. We have to understand how these things work in order to understand them, to adopt them, and to use them. I think that is the crucial. And the very nature of the universities is they are slow to changes. So curriculum will not change overnight, and technology does. So we have to wait some time before the schools and university catch up with these technologies. So that is certainly a problem. Second of all, programming skills have to be upgraded. So it's no longer necessary just to teach our students how to write simple programs. They have to understand what they are writing, have to understand the larger context. That is also very important, and I think that another important aspect is they have to understand the context in which their AI programs will be used. For example, in healthcare, so they have to know something about the healthcare. If to write software for the healthcare. Data handling and pre-processing, of course, we have to have a better, faster broadband internet aspect. Elon Musk is working on that with Starlink and so forth. And also, as was already mentioned, I think that is important, green. So green energy, efficiency, because these backbones, this hardware that we will be using more and more for AI consumes a lot of power, and we have to be as well. Another thing I want to just point out briefly is ethics, and in primarily legal and social question, and I think that this set of questions are the most in the focus when we are talking about generative AI in public. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We are talking about the black box. This is I would say scary, that we don't know what is really happening. So the competence outside of the developers, of the users or developers of the AI is the rest of us. When we were preparing the workshop, we actually realized that there are not too many digital competencies around it. It's a really foundational competence, how to find the text box on the web, and then through the language skills, not through the digital skills. So I think this is a good opportunity. When you said, for example, about using this in the health system, we are actually going to use probably black box in medical services. So this is something which is very, very
ethically yeah.
Very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Sandra Troja is my next guest. Sandra, again.
Okay. My name is Sandra Troja. I come from Italy. I am an digital consultant, and I design learning experience using framework like DigComp, DigComp, LiveComp, EnterComp, and etc. And also, I am teacher.
Thank you very much. It's very popular in the European Union to develop frameworks, comp frameworks. So, what is LiveComp?
Yeah, I think that to have frameworks is really, really useful. Common languages, and LiveComp it is an European framework that explain and describe personal competencies, social competencies, learning to learn competencies, and the image of this framework is a tree, and is really interesting. Then the level of proficiency are bud, flower, and fruit. And I think really useful because we are in a digital world, but we need to have a great attention on our life skills, soft skills, because we now in digital environment, and we need to know how to communicate. It's not only a technical problem or technical skills or ability. Is to understand that we need to be open to listen others, and we don't talk only with people that we know, but we are talking with people that maybe we don't know. Our soft skills are more important maybe than
I have a 17-year-old son, so please give me advice. Give me 3 life competencies that I would try to transfer to him so that he and I can survive this age of AI.
I think that we can select competencies from LiveComp. One is in the area of personal competencies, and it is flexibility, because we need to be really flexible, to be open to change our habit, to change the way in which we work or we study, or yes, we have interaction. Now we are living in a hybrid world. We are in the middle, and also we can push to improve the growth mindset. This is a competence that is described in DigComp in area related with learning to learn, because we need to be ready to learn for all during all our life, of course, and now we need to improve our skill about artificial intelligence. And another specific competence that learning to learn area, and is really important, because we don't want to be prisoner of the black box, but we want to understand, we want to be active, is the critical thinking. And because of course we I think I'm really curious about artificial intelligence, but we need to be really critical, because we to understand if the answers that we receive when we speak with artificial intelligence have inside bias or other kind of knowledge that maybe are not knowledge, but are knowledge that are in data set, because of course the artificial intelligence is brilliant. Is data that other humans put in data set, and for this reason I need to check if these data are correct, are incorrect, and yes, I think this these three competencies.
Thank you very much. My next guest is coming from the creative sector. We had three perspectives so far, but we invited Zenke Cele to tell who he is first, then we will continue with the questions. Please.
Sure. I'm a media theorist. I teach at an art academy, and my current research interest includes based arts and design education.
Well, last decade, I would say we were all expecting that digital technologies and artificial intelligence is going to replace human force in standardized, repetitive type of jobs. But we are witnessing at the moment big strike, for example, in Hollywood, creative workers. So obviously that other jobs are challenged as well. So can you tell me challenges and opportunities that creative workers face at the moment, related to the generative AI, of course?
I think there are three things that are going to change. One thing is how we learn and teach. The other is how we create. And the final thing is how we make money. And the creative sector is struggling with all three of these questions right now. And the Screen Actors strike in Hollywood, because it is sort of anticipating a lot of the social conflicts that we're going to see. It's an important example because we're not just about creating content. Mark just, thank you for that, reminded us that right now generative AI is remixing human content. And so it's a pivot moment. We might see an era where much of the content that we're remixing comes from other machines. So this is a key, But this question of what we are willing to pay for is something that we have to address as art and design institutions. Are we paying for human effort? Are we paying for the quality of the outcome? Are we paying for the quantity of ideas? Are we paying people, and this has more to do with DigComp than anything else, to be able to assess the utility of ideas? Now, nightmare team meeting where every employee comes to the table with 100 ideas he had come up with over the weekend. You have an hour to assess assess the utility of these ideas. That's like a generative AI nightmare meeting, that you don't want to attend. So the question of use, the question of what we're really willing to pay for in terms of human effort, those are key issues we have to address now. And then to wrap this one up, and this is what Serena was saying, but also what Boris was saying, physical structure, that organizes these face-to-face encounters, which is the most expensive part of education. I have dilapidated building. Are we willing to put our, or are we finding better ways to spend that money?
We have discussed over coffee the possibility of collaboration at the university level, of exploring these other types of learning environment, project-based, which is multidisciplinary. So for anybody interested in this kind of changing approach to the education, we can talk over coffee later on. But how would you address this? How do you plan to address these challenges at your university?
We're already addressing this. The thing is that, especially in the arts, our artists have played around with technology for hundreds. This is not a new thing, really, this kind of playful experimentation. What's important about this, I know that the arts are not a major player in the technology conversation, but I think what you get from is a sense of freedom in playing with technologies and do things with them they were not designed to be used for. We know what the creators of these technologies think should use this for. Like now we're becoming all AI literate. The question we should be asking, I think, is why? What are the challenges we want to address? What's the main challenge? Is distrust? Are these the Boris questions? Is our main challenge to get microplastic out of the ocean? Is our main challenge to improve family relations? Well, then that's what we should be talking about. So this AI literacy in the creative sector is much more purpose-driven, I think, maybe sectors, because you are the ones who are asking us to be creative. So the first thing we do is, okay, what do you want? What story do you want to say? What do you want to tell? What imaginary are you trying to create? Who are you trying to inspire? Those are the important questions that then guide the use of this technology. So what we're teaching our students is not an end in itself. Being more AI literate is not than being less AI literate. We'll do what we have to do, in part because of the platform providers that we're talking about. By the way, why the analogy with the printing press is wrong, okay? The printing press is a grassroots invention. What we're talking in now is a sort of a techno-feudalist environment where we are being charged rent to play around with somebody else. I mean, to some extent, I'm fine with this because these are fantastic things to play with. But this is not the printing press, okay? It's not a technology that is in the individual hackers, designers, citizens. By definition, these data-driven systems are centralized. And this is something we have to address in the educational sector, whether we are witnessing kind of a new moment of where we have to decide whether we want to be a Google school or a Microsoft school or an Alibaba school or a Falcon school or whatever. So this is a key issue. Maybe it's more pertinent in the art and creative sector than it is elsewhere, but this distinct awareness of individual freedom and a self-determined kind of education, the printing press, easily, and students do this all the time. I cannot build a generative platform based on a large kind of design process, and this makes all the difference. This is a huge difference. It's a game-changing difference, and I just want us to be aware of what we're getting into as we're getting into it.
Thank you so much. So another perspective we want to hear from Nicola Bruno. First of all, please present yourself in one sentence.
I'm Nicola Bruno from Italy. I am the director of OpenBox. OpenBox wants to skills in Italy, and we focus mainly on media, data, and AI literacy.
You're a private company, right?
Yeah.
So let's Marco said before that formal education is slow to transform and change, you know. So this is maybe to see what is happening in the private sector, what the small private entrepreneurs, how do they react to this big bang that happened last year?
Yeah, we are a private company. We work in the training of professionals, mainly on data literacy skills. That's the name, Data Ninja. But we started to work also with professionals, so with educators. And in 2020, we got a grant from a private foundation, and we were lucky to have money to work for 3 years for developing the project that we wanted to do. And the project name is Open the Box, and we have built a community of more than 1,000 teachers and educators. We work both in formal education and informal education, so we have also a lot of educators coming from NGOs or other kind of organizations. Yeah, this last year, while we were working with our community on data and media literacy skills, ChatGPT arrived, and so most of in our community we have a lot of early adopters who wants to test, comes, and so we started to try ChatGPT, and yeah, the first lesson we had to learn was that most of people, also because the ChatGPT interface is very similar to Google or other search engines, usually people go there and just type one keyword, two keywords, and just want the exact reply. And so we started and said that was not like this. We could not have just a simple reply to a simple question. So we started to work on prompt design. So how can I build my prompt? What are the rules? We are doing this also in the workshops that are running here at the All Digital Summit. And then after this prompt design part, most of the teachers understood that also one prompt is not enough. So you need to start to have more prompts. You need to have a conversation with this large language model. And so they started to try different prompts. And what was interesting, they started with the main need was, can you explain me this topic I am very good at, or the topic, and so the explanation question was the most used. Then they that ChatGPT and other tools can improve is that they started to use also some lateral thinking capabilities that you can find in these tools. For example, don't just explain me Plato philosophy, but how can you explain me Plato philosophy with the sport meta? I am like 5 years and I want to know more about Plato. How can... So they started to better use not just for explaining, but also for building, for example, lessons or lesson plans, and some other teachers started to use also for building simulation, for example. No, I want to explain ChatGPT to my class. How would Karl Marx explain ChatGPT to my students? And so they started to build also these creative ways of using ChatGPT. And this is something new, because you cannot do this. It's not easy to do by yourself. Why, with the right input from ChatGPT, you can. At the end, there's a challenge among all our educators, and the challenge actually was focused just on this competence, not just use ChatGPT for having something weird or great, but we wanted to let teachers to dialogue with these tools, and so the challenge was like a prompt generation. It's the double meaning, generation, creating content, but also creating the age let's say, and came up with a very, very interesting. Yeah, and the most interesting were mixing this explaining art, so help my students to, for example, learn better this art, but also help me build new ways of doing my lessons.
Just quick, because we want to be.
Yeah.
How many seconds do we still have? I just wonder what you're talking about, the thousands of teachers to your community. In general, what is their motivation and how did they react to the opportunity to experiment? Are they willing to experiment, to explore these new opportunities, or majority of them would prefer to keep the same old model?
Yeah, actually we started with, we were not starting with schools or with ministers or staff. Target directly teachers. So this was very important for us to build community, to be faster. And the motivations are different. We have these early adopters that are very interested in new activities in the class, but we, for example, in Italy, we have also now mandatory education, so obliged to do digital citizenship lessons in their classroom, so they came to us to have also ready-made materials or tools that they could deploy. And now with generative AI tools, it's completely different, because I think that the needs, they are a bit, there are some people who are very enthusiastic about this, but most of them are very scared. The first thing they do, and so what we don't need any more teachers, any more educators, and so I think that now it's a motivation. They come to us.
Thank you very much. It's for me
being no more useful. Yeah, being replaced.
There is no carrot in this.
No.
So, since we both work in development of media, for me very interesting. It belongs very much to civic education, you know. So because we are all subjects of civic education. It is only in Croatia at the moment, but this is one element of this education where which is providing the opportunity for development of interdisciplinary competences, you know. So this is a nice playground. Joel, who you are?
I'm Joel Ferrer. I'm the director of training and area and of European projects in Fundación España. It's a non-profit based in Spain.
We have a whole company. Now we will hear a little bit about big network of civil sector organizations, but I would like to a little bit about your students, I hate the word beneficiary. I mean, this is ugly word.
Participants, because they participate.
Yes, so tell us a little bit about those categories who are not involved in formal education anymore and who are not employed. How do you motivate them, and what are their needs?
The needs are a long list. Probably it's the needs of all the young people that we have, or the same needs we had when we were a little bit younger than now. The slides that you have, I think it's that needs. They need soft skills, a lot of soft. They need intelligence, emotional intelligence, communication, team working, critical thinking. I think it's the base, probably the most important one, and a long list. What else? They need probably mentoring and role models. I think it's very important. It was said, I think yesterday I don't remember in which panel, how important is to have a role model the girls that want to be in the sector. There is women and there were women, but we make them invisible. If
bring them to panels.
Yes, for example. or in our history books, there were women in the past, but we don't talk about them though. So if they see that this could be for me, probably it will be easier. Not the panacea, but it's easier. Then they need career guidance. They are young and they don't know anything about the labor market. It's normal. I didn't know anything. What kind of profile is the IT profession related with one, or with data, or what is machine learning? Why is it related with data, and how works the deep learning? If you don't try to explain them what can their work be, so it's very difficult to motivate them. They need money to pay all of this, to eat, to travel, to go to whatever it is. So we need resources for that. We need probably a lot of things, but I think probably we have an advantage in the civil sector, because social civil sector, because we can make it fast. We can change fast. We only need to be in a dialogue with companies. It's very important. We need to know their needs, make a new curricula with them. We need to talk with the governments. As Laurentio said before, that the government that can do the digital transformation. So let's work from all the spheres of the dialogue to find that kind of training and how can we cover these needs of all the youngs, of course. For the youngs that are not studying and not working, they have more necessities. But let's work together with all the spheres of the society, and I think easier. And there is another important thing related with that it was said yesterday at the afternoon in another panel, that probably we have, but probably only to cover that gap of 20 million of ICT professionals. We have the bad trainings, we have the formal, the non-formal, the informal ways, and new methodologies. I think these 2 days we have talking about methodologies because they must be practical, attractive, participative. If not, then we have that drop of people because it's not useful, they don't see the necessity to learn this. So I think our role is crucial, but is as crucial the university, companies, the government, or if we collaborate and go aligned, or it will be very difficult.
Thank you very much.